you doing, man? I like this track. I like the track. I was bopping to the track, huh?
Yeah, the track is nice. I also like the track.
Yeah, it's got a groove to it, man. It
Okay,
makes
so
it
what's up
sound like
from
you're
that?
serious. Andre Boam. You know what? Every day, at the end of the day, it's like, yep, another day, another dollar. And so I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Yeah,
Hey,
loving the
people should
cool weather.
subscribe to this channel, bruh.
Well, you know what?
People should subscribe so that
It
we
will.
make money.
It will take time. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure word is gonna go around, man. Like, well, different things. Tickle different. I just had to say tickle. But I mean, how are we looking
I
on the
guess
stats
so.
though? I think we had a couple of good a couple of views. I haven't seen any comments as yet. I haven't looked at it today. I hope nobody's trying to cut our throats.
No, no. Actually, we don't have any comments. We just have likes and obviously the views per my shots. Those were really good, like really really good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
But
trust you with that.
I
You're
guess I'm just guessing, Kuti, as time goes by, people get used to seeing us spam our shots, and then they're like, "Who are these guys? Let's actually see what these guys are all about."
where are they?
I know.
What are they doing? Are they
Yeah,
qualified?
type of thing.
which probably brings us to today's subject, huh? Um,
Mm,
yeah. I like the way you coined it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, today we talk about a different angle. For those of you who probably were thinking we're sort of biased in any way, but I think our show, you'd agree, man, is about us having a different perspective. And this is not an
yeah,
introspection show. We want to strike a conversation and probably understand that things can be different. But how and why and
yeah,
when, I think that's the subject. I think you'd agree, yeah?
yeah. True. I mean, we can't.
Hmm.
Of course, our show it needs a balance. One is biased on the other end, and the other. But then the fact that we have a balance at the end of the day is what makes the show what it is.
Yeah. And another thing, I think a lot of people would understand that we've been debating a lot of things, you and I. And I've always been
Yeah,
on a side that surprises you as to why things are like that. But
yeah,
I've it's a bad habit. My entire family calls me a pessimist, but I have a thing of looking at things from a different perspective, and I've got a very terrible dark humor to everything. And I want to probably assume that, you know, how does it feel to be on the other side? I mean, because everybody thinks they're right, and like I've told you before, there's like three sides to a story. There's your side, the other side, and then the observer side. So
yeah,
everybody is right until they realize that they've got a level of ignorance on the matter. So I think right and wrong is overrated. I think it's more to do how much do you know. you know.
yeah. Well, that's true. Actually, that's a true fact. But then the problem is that even if, let's say, we were to incorporate the Team Raju, okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, the political
Yeah.
atmosphere or the political circles,
Uh-huh.
those guys would always, they will never give us facts. They will always just support because they don't want to be seen to be on the wrong side or to be heard
Yeah,
to be
there's a
on the wrong
yeah,
side.
yeah,
So,
I mean that's a good point. But I think we're moving away from scare tactics, huh? Because I think we need to move away. Up until a certain point, I think I once said to you that
yeah,
we've been fighting everywhere across Africa, all these places. We've been fighting for democratic rights and so forth, and change to things. But one thing we never thought about at the time was that we should think of working with, not working against. And I think that anything that's happening anywhere, it's always no, we think you are wrong, and we think it should be this way, and so forth.
Exactly.
Never really work together, and I think that brings us to today's question. Huh? Should
Yeah.
we build ourselves to rebuild a nation? You know, and I think we've deliberated on this and how we can table. And I think the answer is yes. You know, but I don't think anybody
Yes.
ever
Yes.
thinks about how valid they are in a situation. Everyone just thinks, how about me? You know, my feelings and so forth. Like you were saying the last show, it's been a long time. You know, your generation, we've never known any other. Yeah, I mean, those are your sentiments, but nobody, I don't know what you think about it. I mean, like, do you think it's important for people to build themselves? I mean, and by self, it's not really just individuals, it's communities, it's churches, families, soccer teams, whatever it is, whatever group you belong to. Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
you think, man.
Well, yeah, I feel the same way, and obviously, uh, this is something that I have thought about quite a lot. So basically, because I live in Europe now, and my experiences here are quite different from home back home.
Hmm.
Back home, we are so self-centered. Like, patinomuka makuseni,
Yeah.
tikungoti ndikufana notsvaga yangu. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, but
Hmm.
out here, of course, munhu wese ari kutsvaga yake, but they are working together. Do you
Hmm.
understand? Eh, it's not about me, but it's about everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Which,
think
which,
that's what,
yeah,
yeah,
that's a very strong point because I'll tell you one thing about my environment. One of the things that used to annoy me all the time was like everybody used to check what I've done, and I used to think it's because I'm black. Like these people, they just think I don't know what I'm doing. I then
yeah,
realized that the culture has to do with a lot of control, you know, and
exactly,
control means everybody doesn't matter, even if it's your boss. They realize that they've got a human error element, so they always ask,
yeah,
"What do you think?" Does
yeah.
this,
What do
even
you
if you've
think?
got no
Yeah,
idea, you just feel like, I think there should be a comma over there. Like, no, no, no. Actually, we don't put commas anymore. You've also learned,
exactly.
in as much as
That you don't
also
put commas.
participated. So there's like, but then there's a goal because at the end of the day, you want to achieve your target and deliver. And like Kumusha,
Exactly.
as you
And yeah,
it's
Kumusha
like,
Ndaraka, I mean, look at the councils. They
Mhm.
do they even have plans? Kuti after every 5 years, kunofana nochinjwa piping kwakati, kana kuti after every 2 years. Do you understand? Like in I've stayed in this house for we've stayed in this house I think for 4 years, 4 to 5 years,
Yeah.
and the piping, plumbing downstairs, in the drain,
Uh-huh.
it has been changed twice
Okay.
of that. Eh, And I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. Like, you know,
And this is
in
where you know
in
that
the
renting is better than owning, because it will be your bill.
that's true.
It depends where
That's
you're
true.
at. Baba.
Hmm.
Um,
Like I'm
I'll
done.
tell you what.
It's really amazing. Like,
Yeah, I think councils have it. You know, the one thing that happened in most places is the absence of continuity. I did tell you this in, I think it was in audio, where I was telling you that a lot of people became who they are in any sort of location. Whether let's just talk about home, because certain people left. So, like in my generation, you found
yeah,
people becoming directors and managers very early. Like before the age of 27, you'd find somebody's director of whatever, bank managers and so forth, because the skills left. But then the skills, that gap was too quick. It goes down to even independence. You know, you get independence, but then you don't have the people. That's why you find, let's say Simba Makoni. He's a PhD in chemistry or something like that, but he was at the United Nations as our ambassador there. And because look, Bob was thinking, I don't have the people. We just need some sort of people with expertise or some sort of school. Okay,
yeah,
so the council
yeah,
probably does have these plans, but who can articulate and understand? The challenge is what is actually supposed to be there is an HR upgrade. So even if there's a void, you should then identify that, okay, this one was driver. Now driver is cashier.
yeah,
What should the cashier require? training, what you
Yeah.
call these days,
Training. Yeah.
onboarding, and
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
that is done.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, and then before you know it,
Mm,
this person is making rudimentary solutions and executions, and then the system is kaput. Like eventually, it's like you can't even remember how it used to work because
exactly. That
yeah. So
that
it's a
is a
good
valid point. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that being said, it's the answer is yes. You know, you need
Yeah.
to rebuild yourself, and self here is not really specific to a person. I'll tell you what one headmaster principal once said in the wake of political upheaval in our country. People were getting very highly sensitized. I think I was 17 thereabout. And then he comes and says, most of you are asking what? Hey, what is Mugabe done for us? What have you done for the country? You know what I mean? That question hit me so hard, you know. Until today, I ask myself, what have I done for my people? You know, because you and I have got cousins who don't even use toilet paper. You know, we've got cousins who've never had a WhatsApp account. We've got relatives that have never had cheese, if that's any standard. Like there's a lot of things. So to build self in a sense of community or a cluster or individual basis, I think it's got an add on that feeds into a whole nation. Okay. And then the question is this, what are the Bambinos doing? And what the next question is, if we're building self, like capacitating each other, why are we doing it? You know, and the reason why we've just answered this is because we need to have informed decisions. You cannot make the right decisions, the right actions, like changing ama pipes. The people they cancel, they've got no idea what's going on because for some reason they're not capacitated, so they can't make informed decisions. So the decisions are probably not made, or the wrong decisions are made. So this
Yeah.
onboarding, let's call it that onboarding, is very essential in any sort of sector, which is it cannot be by popular demand. Like I would just like this one. Yeah. Did
Yeah.
Comrade Chino Timba, let me ask you a last question. Did
No
Comrade
biggest
Chino,
problem here tonight Zimbabwe.
yeah,
We are busy.
if I let me ask you this question. Did Comrade Chino Timba leave the parliament a lot more enlightened or a lot more concretized in his lack of understanding of matters? This is very crucial because even though he's not in
Hey,
parliament, you should be able to go and say, gentlemen, yeah, ngifundile vele, uyabo, A, B, C, D kind of scenario. And then even if he's not an active parliament member, the people should still benefit from his time in parliament. Did Comrade Muliswa
yeah,
at the same gain something from it? But if Comrade Muliswa goes back and things are getting worse, then that means the system is not
yeah, it's
there's
not
no build
working. Yeah. Actually, there is no
there's
system
no
at all.
building, there's no onboarding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think
That, that
um,
that is the
yeah, go
biggest
ahead.
problem with our country, right? Like the thing is when they all came from Hondo, right? And
Yeah.
I actually think like I was listening to was it Chris Mchangwa, that guy.
Yeah.
He said some things that really touched me there because he spoke about, hey, you guys were trying to build a middle income
Mm-hmm.
saka you guys should be happy kuti we have black people who are making money. Do you understand that statement? He was talking about the Tagres and the Chibayos, right?
Yeah, but
And
Granjiva are not in the same bracket
and,
though.
yeah, well, of course, but
Okay.
in the eyes of the people, those are like the people animal. You understand?
Yeah, true.
So
True.
in my mind, I'm thinking, but this guy, okay, he has the audacity to say this, and yet we have. It is so simple to have a middle income nation if you want to grow one. It's so
Mm-hmm.
easy. You make sure that jobs are available, and then after
Mm-hmm.
that, you make sure that the inonzichi lowest salary should be 1,000
Mm-hmm.
bucks. Do you understand? Saka maid aninga jihoratas. Garden boy aninga jihoratas. Ukupa battery pop.
I,
If
well,
you
my thing
create
is,
that,
let me. I
if
mean,
you
how do we create? I think that was my next statement. How do we do it? And you've put out two things.
this is how
I think Comrade Chang, I'll call them comrades because that's how they're called. I'm not a member of the party. But Comrade Mchanga, okay, there's one thing he's doing. There's two reasons why people talk a certain ways. One is to stimulate for a current need, okay, which is to motivate people
yeah,
to go in a certain direction, okay, like
yeah,
giving
yeah.
some comic a car. It's okay in their internal issues. But then if you talk about creating jobs, okay, the jobs are actually there. People that are informally employed and creating money somehow, all these people. The question is, does Chivayo have a tenderpreneurship certificate? Is he graduated in those systems? This is where we should be going. Whoever is active anywhere, we should be coming up with systems where
Ipapo,
we can graduate people in whatever they're doing. If you're a vendor, you need to
yeah,
be graduated because then you need to understand why you need to pay mutero so then we can collect mara. You know what I mean? So if you're not
yeah,
trained, if you don't have
yeah.
a if that skills upgrade, if you don't accept that we're an informal country, but why is it informal? Okay, what are the skills that are required for cross-border traders? Do they understand tax returns? They should be trained for that, and then they can commit. The reason why they can't commit is because they've got no idea. They don't have information. You know?
Yeah, Ipapo right Dara. The thing that is something that we need to work on. You see, people like Chiva, like what you're saying, Kuti. What does he have or to show to say Kuti is a tenderpreneur? That
Mm.
Chivayo's history of tenders is the worst, Mdara, but he's still getting tenders. I mean, you know, this is something that needs to be looked at.
Again, Bambi, you know what I mean? Where's according to who? I think in the last week, it's. Let me just poke you a bit. The last episode, I pointed out that there's power bases and all these things, and they're masters in the rafters, huh? That you can't see. Things that influence a certain people to do things a certain way are not exactly visible. It's like people thinking that Donald Trump is in charge. Come on, you know? Yeah, you might be there, but then there's other forces. When he has his dinners, you can see just about the richest people in that space. So you understand where his decisions emanate from. The same thing with Chivayo, if you want to use him as an example. The people that he serves, or he's an arm to, are pleased with his work. That's it. It's that simple. But then the challenge is we assume. Now let me bring you to the next point. Okay, we assume that his actions are supposed to be somewhat beneficial to everybody. Why? Because we have never set out to say what is the goal, or maybe the goal was set out in our absence. We don't even know. We assume we are part of this team, and yet you're not. You get my point. Those in that club probably have some sort of agenda, which is where part of rebuilding a nation is. Do we have a national agenda? What is our agenda? Like I was telling some MP here, like I think this guy's from Ghana. I was like, black people don't have an agenda. You guys are fighting for inclusion. Oh, recognize us. This is racist, whatever. Why should people recognize you? There should be an agenda.
Yeah,
In fact, I don't want to digress. There should be an agenda that brings every African to one point. The only agenda we have to send money back home to our forgotten girlfriends, school fees, and funerals. That's all we know via old remit. But otherwise, there's no agenda. So, what is the agenda? Do we have a national agenda? If you have a national agenda, then you're going to identify all the skills and activities in your economy. Then you're going to find a way of graduating those skills. Okay. So it doesn't matter if someone's a maid. People have been maids for 20 years. What is a maid? Do they know hygiene processes? Do they know waste disposal? Do they know why we have to separate waste? These things have to come the same way we used to have these women that used to go around in communities and educate people. That should also, so if we don't graduate things and match them to an agenda, people will always be getting surprised. Like, what is going on? You know? So, yeah, okay. I'll just stay behind and talk to myself. So anyway, in absentia, Mr. Oteta's absentia, it's this is basically what we're talking about. So one of the reasons why we need to build capacity, it's and have some self build for a nation rebuilding exercise, is for us to get away from ignorance. And I said, there's no right and wrong. It's basically a function of how much you know about a situation. If you're in it or not in it, man, that sounds like a political thing. Okay, so you wouldn't know the degree to which something is relevant. That's why we're always at loggerheads. So what we want to do is work together. And for us to work together, we need to be graduated. We need to have some sort of capacity, which means every skill and activity should be standardized. That's what it means. So, from a government and administration point of view, we can't keep saying, "Oh no, this is informal." Oh, we need to get back into systems. That ship has sailed, you know. And now, 10 years later, everybody's figuring out how to do things. To get back to that, we have to institutionalize people, not like prison, but we
But
have to
Mdara,
create institutions.
but Mdara,
Yeah, yeah.
it did. Shouldn't we fix things so that we actually have a proper functioning economy? Because this
Yes, we
hasn't
can.
been
Yes,
this
yes, we
hasn't
can.
been working
Yes,
for us. Like we have
yes,
had
we
the
can.
informal economy for a very long time, and yet it has not done anything to keep
No, no,
all the.
there's a danger in words like normal because nothing remains the same. Nothing is set in stone. And yes, we can. To answer your question, yes, we can. And
Yeah,
how can we do that?
but then my
How we can
when
do
I
that?
say normal, I'm talking about the basics. Okay, when
Mhm,
I'm talking about basics, I'm talking about kutora marara. Okay,
mhm,
water
mhm,
marara. This is very important. Okay,
mhm.
Mageti, it's a bit shaky because I mean it's
Mhm.
only kuno way it's right, but kumwe say I don't know.
I wouldn't know. I mean, the standard of living is different. I mean, these
Yeah. So
Europe is like basically living in very strenuous conditions. They need electricity. Back home, we don't. We just need some
yeah,
sunshine. But
yeah.
but but let me answer your question. Yes, yes, we can fix it, and I'll tell you what the challenge is. Going back to my point, because there's no onboarding. One of our biggest challenges, it's not entirely a leadership problem. It's an accountability problem. I'll bring it back to Shona culture. Shona culture, we've got something called ngozi. Okay, if one of you, even 100 years ago, kills somebody, the entire family pays for that fault. Okay, so we never had prisons until the settlers came, whatever color they were. Okay, so you'd be imprisoned by one
Yeah.
person's fault. So we need accountability. But for people to be accountable, they need to be understanding the gravity to the matter, which means they need to be what you call it, onboarded with information. Now, our city councils and all these people are ignorant. You see, they don't have the skills and they haven't been onboarded, so they can't see the relevance to it. That's why you find somebody who would throw Marara anyway. They don't have the intel, for them to realize the repercussions thereon, and they can't be accountable because they think it's somebody else's problem. But if you have a goal and a target and it's communicated and people are graduated in their functions, then people are going to be accountable. Take for example in Rwanda, you know, it's there's systems in place. Whether you want to agree with how Kagame does his stuff, but you will not throw papers in Rwanda because the repercussions are apparent. But in our country, it's just a lot of people that have assumed a certain position without onboarding, without graduation in their functions. So even if you want to call it tenderpreneurship, at some point we've got institutions for this. These people should be coming out of the newspaper, not being awarded PhDs from anywhere, but being said, oh, he was at Empretech and he completed his first stage in entrepreneurship, a 3-week course led by so and so. It can even be done by Tendai. That's what we should be doing. We should stop thinking that we're going to go back to a time where we reset and say, okay, let's start again. The people we have now is the people we're always going to have. How much better can we make these people? That's where we're
Ayo,
saying we
but
should
Tinashe,
ourselves.
that I don't agree with you up, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm now diverting, but the people that we have now, they should go.
Go away.
Yeah,
Go away.
do you know? Do you know? I thought about this, and
Yeah.
I actually did some a little bit of investigation. Right? Like
Okay. Mhm.
Dakango, I just asked a couple of people, right? Like, guys, if you were to go back to Zimbabwe today with a position to actually, let's say, like a position as an MP
Mhm.
or in parliament or in government, right?
Mhm.
Would you tag? Would you steal the way these guys are stealing? Because I mean, it's so obvious
Mo-
that these guys,
Most probably.
eh,
Most the thing is, yeah, most likely. You'll probably end up like the same because again, there's no graduation system. There's no onboarding. You will be
ayo,
onboarded onto the wrong thing. Okay.
ayo, but man, you wanna I'm talking to people who have experienced. Uh, I'm talking to someone like you and me, people who
Yeah.
have experienced living here. Do you
Hmm.
understand?
Yeah.
I believe, Kuti, most of the Zimbabweans or Africans that live out here, if you were to take them back home and give them enough power, okay,
Hmm.
they could actually make a real difference because their mindset is no longer the same. And this is what we are discussing today. Their mindset is no longer what your mindset was when you were in Zim. It's not the same because izvezvi wakuziva kuti kana ndichifamba nebhazi handiti
Hmm.
ndinonomira pabus stop apo na
Hmm.
nahalf past nahalf past ndikasamira ipapo nahalf past bhazi rinoita sei
Nobody.
bhazi rinobaya saka that's the mindset Mdara, that we need in Africa where we
Yeah.
understand kuti things move in a certain way so that everyone benefits. It's not about
Right.
one person. Unoziva zvemakombi zvezve
Uh-huh.
zvishandi Mdara.
But and you know how it came about. Let me not digress. But what you're saying, you cannot even if the government of Zimbabwe hired me today, I'll have some splendid solutions. But I need people to work with. And those people need to be graduated. You get my point? You need to come down to say, okay, so we're trying to do this, and there's a whole format to doing this. You first of all, you bring in stakeholders, sit down, you identify the problems, and then the challenges, and then the resources that are required. All these in there's a whole. Then you do training. Then it's a whole process. I can design that any day in my sleep, even on the toilet. I can do that.
Mm,
But
mm,
first things
mm.
first is the administration wanting to have some complete unit of function, and do we have an agenda when that is when that is
They don't want that because for them this is fun. When it's dysfunctional like this, for them this is good because then they make money. Okay.
I think no, I think it's a function of ignorance. I think there's more money to be made. I think the administration is equally ignorant because they don't want to change the formula because they've got no idea if they can maintain the same position if they change the formula. But the truth is, look, people with money can always make money, even if everyone's benefiting. We live in Europe. Come on, the
Yeah,
wealth.
that's
You
true.
know that
That's
50%
true.
of the
People
wealth
here
in
make
Europe
millions over.
percent.
Yeah,
There's like
but
real wealthy people
exactly. I
here.
think yeah, that's true. That is actually very true, and you are right that the government is equally ignorant in the sense, Kuti, they fear Kuti if they actually fix things, uh, maybe they'll stop making. But anyway, do you know corruption? You ever know it? That okay? That everyone
Mm,
says it's corruption, right?
yeah.
Anyway, they could do it a million times over if everything else was functioning and no one would care. This is what they don't understand.
You know what was bigger murder if things were working and people are not looking. You know what I mean? It's you're
Exactly.
so right. I want to agree with you. Yeah. So
Mm,
if everyone had a nice running water, they could never know that. Look, all the
exactly.
elephants are gone. Nobody would
And
care.
God,
So there's
no
no
one would
need
care.
for to have people in dire constraint. There's no need. But then it's like, again, I said, you can't call them wrong. You can easily say they're ignorant because there's no defined agenda, and there's never been a need to graduate things. This is where we should be as a country, to say, okay, whatever happened happened. This is where we are. But then, what is the Zimbabwean agenda, for example? What is it? Before we even get to the African agenda, there's no agenda. There's nothing. In my village right now, if I count the number of people where I come from who live outside the country, but I'll tell you right now, probably the clinic doesn't even have a refrigerator. It doesn't. And vaccines don't even get there. There's no telephone, there's nothing. But these are simple things that will cost it's not even as much as a bottle of whiskey to buy a refrigerator. It's nothing. You get my point?
Yeah.
But because there's no agenda and there's no graduation, there can be no cohesion. So if you don't build the communities, you can't build a nation. All the guys you went to high school with, all your cousins. Just start with your cousins. Just let's say, guys, kitchen just try. It costs $100. The 37 of you will fail to come up with $100 because you don't have an agenda. It's not set in stone. There's no graduation. And as we grew as kids, you'll be surprised, like you don't know anything about your family. So without digressing, goals are spoken about. Inclusion is a very important thing because we've got something called local intelligence. Every community and a set of people and individuals know something. And an administration should go out there and understand what they know and how we can innovate on that. That's the graduation, skills upgrade, and all these things. The South African government, for about the past 15 years, did this. They realized that they've got so many workers and they're getting so many immigrants, but they're workers in as much as you drive a forklift or a welder, you're not certified. So someone just welds this way and that way, protective issues and so forth, stock management. They went on a rampage to do a skills upgrade. That's why you find some of the jobs that used to be gotten by people, like say from our country, you can't get them anymore because South Africans didn't build the human resource for that. You get my point?
Yeah.
So they did that.
Yeah.
They did a graduation. They did an agenda. They went to then came Zuma. Then I don't know what things sort of fell apart there. But during the time of Mbeki, it was like very well, set out. They came up with the BE. It sort of fell apart again when Zuma came. But you understand what I'm trying to say. So if we don't do that, so even as the Second Republic, we will accept that it's there because it's there. But what have they done, and what are we doing in terms of including people, graduating people, and saying we've got informal traders? We're now having night trading instead of chasing people at night. Why are they trading at night? And what is the advantage? Is this a new phenomenon that we can actually model for other countries to consider night trading as an augmentation strategy for people with lower incomes? All these are questions we should be asking. And so the thing is, coming from where you were asking me if I was to go back to Zimbabwe and work, I would go back. But I know exactly what I'm trying to go back into. And the honest truth, the reason why I'm going there is probably they're giving me a hefty package. That's the only reason. But why do I want to risk, like in an environment here that I live in where I flush the toilet with drinking water and then go to Zimbabwe where I have to wonder where this water came from? It's you know what I mean? So do you understand? So I'm only going there for selfish reasons. And that's a fact.
But Ndara, I don't trust, or I don't believe you right now. I think because you love your country, right?
Yeah.
Just like I will always come back to this. I still believe, Kuti, our heroes, when they died because they loved the country. Okay, they had the country at heart. Okay, this is why they were willing to give their lives. That. So I also believe there are people in the diaspora, right, who really love their country deep down, and they are also willing to go back, but only to fix things because they have a better understanding. You see, because I'll tell you another thing.
I don't think.
Madara Aripa, okay. If you look into their history, They went for training in European countries or whatever. I mean, after even like okay, for example, Mchangwa, he's this
Hmm.
guy who went to America to I don't know, is it Oxford?
I don't know. He's a sharp mind. I think and he's
Not
actually
Oxford.
more
He's an
Chinese than you think.
educated guy.
I don't know. Yeah, this guy's a sharp man. That guy's sharp.
I
Like
understand. I
in
understand.
his own way.
In,
You know, might
I
not like him
understand,
for
but
political reasons,
all
but
I'm trying to say is Muchangwa is an educated someone. Okay,
okay.
Saka, but education up. It's very important
Mhm.
because Ragafana, in Indil Zimbabwe, I was not what I am right now here because I got
Mhm.
educated. You understand? Saka, this is
Mhm.
what
You
this
are
is simply what
integrated.
I'm trying to
That's another
put.
thing. Let's not make a mistake. You're integrated, and probably most of these people get integrated into that system. Then you become part of it,
But I think you
which is
also
why you will
choose
not.
to. But Inza, I think you
Yeah,
also
that's
choose.
exactly my
You
point.
also choose
Which is
to
why I said you go
because
for selfish reasons. Because I know exactly. I mean, I'd love to go back and get a maid. You know, I don't want to do my own laundry. I'd love to have a gardener again. You know, I'll be digging flowers.
yeah. But
I'll be sitting there.
al- also,
I'll have somebody every minute.
that mindset is a terrible mindset. Why do we enslave
I'm
ourselves?
going
Do you know, like
that's the,
we take someone agumusha and make them
uh,
a slave
I know. No, no. We're showing you English, my
in
friend.
our homes. Ndara. We are
Ah,
just, do you know,
okay, but okay, just
it's just the
jokes
same
aside,
thing.
yeah.
It's just the same thing. Government. They took the country from the oppressors, and what did they do? They became the oppressors.
Yeah, I think about that
Ndara.
one. About that one. Let me tell you, I want to give you a story. Can I say this one? I want to give you a story. There's a standard that is based to exposure. My father started working amongst all the guys that were living in our neighborhood. They were like, your white collar job, bankers, clerk people, and so forth. Then came a time when we grew up, we never knew Roger. We didn't know that at one house can live people can live there when they're not part of the family. We didn't know this
Mm, mm,
until we started seeing people living in the boy sky. Hey, what's this? Like, they've got lodgers. Like, what? What the hell is that? Like,
yeah,
there was a lot
actually,
of
yeah.
questions, you know. So for a long
Mm,
time, we didn't have lodgers, and then came my tax shop. Okay, there were tax
mm,
shop in certain parts. Like you actually knew, like Avenue 50, what, like almost 2 Ks away. There's a tax shop. It was like an embarrassment, until one of our
mm,
neighbors decided to have a tax shop. My father threw a tantrum because to him the standard was
mm,
lost. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So the people
mm,
that you see emulating how things were going to say, I've got a gardener, I've got a maid. There was standards to that. During the colonial era, people actually used to have pensions and salaries. But the challenge is when we came in, we wanted to have the same benefit, but not uphold the standard. You see what I'm saying?
eh,
So the system
but
should
one
have
other,
continued to say, let me just finish. If you get a maid, you're
mm,
actually supposed to register this person with the labor department. This
yes,
person works in.
yes,
That's actually
yes,
the job. You're supposed to get a NASA registration and all these things, and you're supposed to pay their pension, their health benefits. But because there was
exactly.
no onboarding, that system, so you cannot then conclude. We cannot conclude that people are being oppressive. No, we just wanted to assume the luxury at the expense of others. Why? Because we failed on the onboarding and graduation process. You know,
But ndakamufunga kuti vana vere havazvizive. This is the problem. I
vanozviziva
think
kabati.
also vanozviziva. So kana vachizviziva nditi ivo vachiziva kuti takaenda kuhondo. Look at how they talk about takaenda kuhondo isusu. You know, they're so passionate
But
about
most
this.
of them didn't
And
even
yet,
go. Some of them are just
and yet,
talking cut. Yeah.
I know, but in I'm basing on Muchangwa, that guy. I'm very not happy with that.
You get
Uh,
emotional about people that are just doing their job, bro. Maybe if you see him in person, you'll be
I
like,
understand.
"Oh, man,
I
I'm
I
on a salad."
understand. I understand Mchangwa being on the job and wanting money. I
Yeah,
understand this guy, okay? But at the same time,
but
I want
okay, let me
him
say this. You know
as
that
an
all these people.
intelligent someone.
Mhm,
I want him as an intelligent someone to also be honest,
mhm,
okay? Because the same way he spoke, especially about uh, Chiwenga, you know,
mhm.
degrading him and all that. Darara, I understand that he was doing his job and he had to do it, but I don't think if if he had done it in a better way, it would have then come out in such a disgusting way. Okay,
No,
he should
but
not
then you see,
treat.
like I
He
told you,
should.
like who? The thing is, who is it? What mass is he trying to draw attention to? The people he's communicating to understand that kind of behavior. That's what they're
Yes,
expecting.
Inza,
Like
I understand
like I did
Kuti,
say.
they are communicating to their own people for a certain reaction. Okay, this I
Mhm,
understand. I understand the process. Kuti zviri kubva apa zvichienda apa. Okay,
mhm,
and in all this, right? Ndiri kungoda kuti pangoitikewo some kind of some just let's respect each other type of thing yekuti okay fine you know tikuda kubvisana pazvigaro apa tiri pabasa ndiri but pakudisrespectana ngatirespectane let's not treat each other as if we are not we didn't fight for a reason because
Yeah, I think
you have to realize kuti nyaya kuhondo kwavakaenda ka Mdara, it
mhm.
is the basis of everything. If we overlook that, we will never have an agenda because that's where the agenda comes from. The agenda comes
Which
from
exactly, yeah. So now you're bringing this boat back on course. We spoke
yeah
about generations. One of the
yeah
things that we need to understand is that a certain time is going to pass. I don't think we will still be talking about the war in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. I don't think so. I think those
no no no
it's
no.
these
We are
are
going to talk
internal.
about it for the rest of our. It's an eternal thing. Look at how Europe, for example, the country I live in. Ndara, it
Mhm.
got its independence, and we don't know how many hundred years ago, but they still celebrate it. They
Mhm.
still talk about it like it happened a few years ago. We only got our independence a couple of 40 or 50, 40 something years ago, or 30 something, I don't know, 40 something, I think.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah. It's a bit
yeah.
younger than me.
And isusu already takutomhanya kuti but nyaya dzehondo izvi hazisina basa ndara dzine basa. Do you know why we are saying
I
kuti nyaya dzehondo hadzina basa?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
we
not saying that Abbas, it's those credentials don't they can no longer be the reason why we're looking at you to I'll tell you why it won't work. Like you're being a part of the war in the rise of Mbingas doesn't mean anything. I'd rather listen to what Scott is going to say because of money
that,
than
that
what some other guy is going to say.
I would never listen to anything that Scott has to say. Not because
The thing is for you,
because
all I'm saying,
has not been haina kuwanikwa zvakanaka. I would listen to inzwa Tinashe. I would listen to what's this guy Strive Masiwa. Even though even Iye and it Iye is one of the biggest corrupt people in Zimbabwe, and no one talks about it. But then
yeah, of course. I mean, like obviously
because
he's still making a profit from people that are suffering. Maybe if you ask Strive,
exactly
you say, look, at least I'm getting your internet. I don't know. I don't know what he thinks. But all I'm saying, the
yeah
reason why I'm saying I'll listen
but
to
then
Scott,
the thing
if
is
I was
the
if I
thing
was
is
president in
these
Zimbabwe,
two people are different. These two people are different. You can't look at Scott as someone achataura zvinhu zvine musoro in terms of an economy when
Ayo,
he is
ayo.
actually
But
when
it-
he is actually
but
when he is
that's-
actually destroying the
but that's-
economy so that he gains.
exactly. That's your perspective. Because you need to understand, speaking from a point of somebody who's living in Zimbabwe right now. And it is pakanzi geza apa Scott apa unoda apa. Pangu ndiri kumhanyira kuna Scott because pane lumo. You get my point? And he's got tangible things in real time, things that we've seen now. Whether they are correct or wrong or improper or unjustified, that's not the point. A common Zimbabwean will say, Koma Scott chibondo nayo. Ukaenda kuna geza unongoti hamdara akatozongobuda broka ndipo akatanga kutopedzero. So you get what I'm trying to say?
But Tinashe,
That's what I mean. Like,
Tinashe, how are we going to? Our topic today is about mindset, okay? And this mindset of this mindset of saying kuti chimbondiwonayo, it's we can't live on that. We can't live on that.
Which is why
it is
why.
As a country, we need to move in a certain direction, and also say kuti
exactly.
and we have to also look into what's happening for us not to move in that direction. And vanhu vakaita sana Scott are some of the people who are causing kuti tisa move in a proper direction. Okay, this is why we don't have an agenda, because there are people vakaita sana Scott.
I don't, you know what, to be honest with you, all these Mbinga people, whatever you want to call them, I think they can be managed, and I think they can be graduated, and I think they can be onboarded in the right direction. But what it needs is to grow a
the
system
problem is
into people. Yeah.
The problem is they don't have in Zwatinashe, they did not write a business plan to start a business.
Yeah, but they make them understand.
Iwewe izvezvi kunoko handiti ukauyeyo kunoko uchida kupiwa mari kuti utange ka-business kako, and then after 5 years the business kako has become big. You are now being called to universities to speak to students, what, and they can do that because wakanyora business plan yako, ukafunga, ukagara pasi, mukanodiscussa nevanhu nebank kuti okay, izvi zvichafamba so, and we're giving each other 3, 5, 6 years kuti zvinhu zvifambe in this direction. And mind you, the bank will help you to grow your business, okay? Because they've given you the money. But team yedu ukomdaraka, that's not the case. This is why I would never listen to them, because they don't even have an idea. They vakangotorwa and vakangotorwa because vafana someone and it.
Yeah, but okay, let me be honest with you. Now, let me
do you see?
Let me say this. I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you say, where you say the current manner and makeup and frame cannot permit for us to have an accountable system. I would like to agree, but I'm arguing that the reason why the reason why it's like that, because there's never been a point where we've agreed that what is the agenda. Okay, guys, enough is enough. We're going to do things this way. Okay, everyone, A, B, C, D. This is the Zimbabwe agenda. So until there's an agenda, you don't have a frame to build anything.
Yeah, but the main reason why we don't have an agenda, it's because we can't have an agenda when we are living. Okay, the people who are supposed to then tell us, this is the agenda, they will never do that because do you understand?
Okay.
They enjoy the benefits of having all that money, and then they enjoy also to say kuti vanema small house hobo anenge ari kubhawa achiti unomboziva here small house yangu yechi3 musika uchiremember kamusikana kaika ndakamutengera imba ndikamutengera motikari. izvo
no,
zviri kundifonera kuti
no,
ndodzoutane nhumbu. Iwe.
yeah. It's the trivia. Let me say this. Uh, just to give perspective with regards nation building, we've agreed that there's a lot of nuisance in the system. But I would like to argue that there's no agenda because there's never been a framework for graduation on these people to have a certain direction. If
Yeah.
us as a nation we have an agenda to say what's the target, we want to raise 10 billion. Okay, so what? How are you going to
Yeah.
do it? We are going to include farmers, mbingas, and all these. Yeah. What do we, so mbingas come here? This is what we want you to do. This is what we want. We operate in this frame. We want this kind of revenue. That's how it starts. Until that is framed and a goal is given, an agenda, we cannot even build the units. You can even build yourself because even if you try to build yourself now, you're building yourself to go in. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
the nation when
Yeah.
there's no agenda. So what we need is what exactly are we trying to achieve in Zimbabwe? What is it? Because at some point it's going to stop making sense. And from a personal perspective, people think money lasts forever. No, it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Uh,
doesn't.
no, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So and most of the things
But
that you
this is
do,
why this is why they enjoy being in those positions. I mean,
but there are
look
people that
now.
come after you. This is the thing. Unless you really don't care about the people that come after you, like your children are going to suffer, or whatever, or your wife is just
Ah,
going to be taken by somebody else because she can't afford
but
pads. But
but
or
Wona Kamdara, even for them it doesn't matter because as long as they've made enough money for their kids
maybe
to
they've never thought about it.
live,
Maybe they've never thought about it.
I don't know.
Hmm?
I don't
Maybe
know
they've never,
because
because I honestly believe they think about the future because they include their kids. They include their kids, and uh,
Inzo,
and their and
they
their
think
kids are
about a future for themselves. They don't think about a future for the nation. They think
yeah.
about a future for themselves and their families. Okay, they don't think about the future
It has
for
an
the
advantage
nation.
that the Mnangagwa family is very big. So because they are now all benefiting more people, it's now getting to more people.
My gosh, Izvezvi Kamdara,
I
this is why the country has actually gone worse because that guy has got too many kids. Zvakasiyana
know. Personally, I think having a lot of kids is a good thing, bro. I actually
aiwa,
like the fact that there's a lot of them.
have,
Because then we have varying options, opinions. I mean, if you have one kid and if you have two children and they're all cut, but then the future is lost. Some of those people are actually quite brilliant. But not to digress. I think I'll put it down to this one: the Zimbabwean crisis, especially as a nation, is that there's been a huge internal squabble in the administration that runs the country. Okay, and they haven't taken the time to figure out what the actual agenda is. All this 2030, it has to do with power. But the question is what is the national agenda? That's what's missing. Because with regards their administrative agenda, they have an agenda. They've got ways they're graduating people. They're integrating people to do that. Their kids are coming in, they're being put in critical areas, being sent to school, whether they become army officers or police officers. They are working within their system. But as a nation, there's no agenda. I think this is what it is. So the rest of us that want to participate, we don't know how to build ourselves because we are building ourselves to go away. That's why we stay here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you still there, man? Or you had a stroke?
yeah, yeah, Mdara. I mean, but asitambotaura nguva dzacho
Yeah, you
dzavamba
better.
kwakutoitwa chaos but then
What a chaos.
but let's continue the conversation.
Your kids need some sort of integration and graduation.
Yeah, that's true. It starts with me.
No, but they're kids,
Please,
man. That's so. I
yeah,
think the our charge is that we need a national agenda, and we need to be able to separate,
yeah,
political squabbles and from national issues. Because what is coming to play is the fact that these things are not the same. What happens in that camp
yeah,
is, if you're not part of
yeah.
it, it's got nothing to do with you. But unfortunately, there's no agenda anywhere else, so we keep focusing on that, even if you're
On
not going to.
politics, yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So the thing is, if these two things are separated, if the government then says, as a country, we are trying to build this, and then now okay, I'm going to develop my unit into that. So this starts at a
Yeah.
village level. We want to build a bridge. We want to improve our cotton production or gooseberry
But you
or
see,
whatever it
this
is.
is another. This is something else also. Kuti munhu tema ketu akupera munhu akutanga kuda kuti continue because zviri kunzi ndiye anogona basa. Do you know that is just mental nonsense? Uh,
Mm.
if you are working for a real nation for a national thing, like zvakutaura kuti we have an agenda for the nation, and it doesn't matter who is president. The agenda is to build the bridge. Zvinabasa
Yeah,
kuti ndiani ari kumberi kumhanya mberi kuti bridge parinopera tichati acheka ribbon ndiani. Aiwa mudaki. Izvo zvinabasa izvo.
yeah. I mean, like
Chakakosha ndechekuti
that's not bad because we don't care.
we don't
We
care.
don't care. What
Chakakosha
we want,
ndechekuti bridge rigadzirwe.
yeah, what we want is the bridge. But I mean, look, let me. I want to say this. In as much as you should always try to look at it from a different perspective, like the accused perspective. Any action that happens is mostly personal. Extension of terms hasn't started here. Morgan Changirai did it. Malema did the same thing, and we saw what happened to Morgan Changirai's situation. The people then split and whatnot. Malema again, it got washed out when he did that. Maybe this will also wash out. I wouldn't know, but these are technicalities. These are internal issues for whatever reasons that they perform them. If there's an agenda, it doesn't matter how long or wide a leadership is. The problem is we have a problem with these things because we don't have an agenda. And if it's there, it's not communicated. I don't know about it.
Yeah.
I don't know where I fit in the equation. Besides wanting to vote someone out. And then if you vote them out to go away, and whoever comes in, they're coming in to do what when they don't know what the agenda is. You get my point? So you can replace these leaders. Look at Zambia. They replaced presidents so many times, they just came back the same thing. Look at Malawi. So many times, same square. There's no agenda. So there's no way of including people, and there's no way of building people, and you can't build a nation. It's very simple. That's what it is. And if you don't have an induction and graduated system, you can't be accountable. And you can't expect people that are operating a system, ignorant people, to uphold standards that were there yesterday when they were not there yesterday. They're there today. They're not aware of those things. Neither do they even understand them. They're just ignorant.
Yeah.
You see?
All right, Mdara. Nini ndibatsire kuno.
All right.
Thank you. It's been good.
I've got a joke for you, though. I like the way you think. You think very fast. But do you know why short people think faster than tall people? Because
these are your closing remarks. Confirm these are your closing remarks.
Do you know why short people think faster than tall people? Because your brains are closer to your buttocks, and you can smell the shit faster. I'll see you later, man. I'll see you later, man. Have a good night, man. Say hi to the missus. And hey, come up with an agenda, man. Agenda brings accountability. No agenda, no accountability. That's it. No induction process. It's just a waste of time.
Upload pa YouTube. Upload pa YouTube. You should tag
all right.
My YouTube channel. Tag them and then tell them good email. You want an agenda.
Yeah, what an agenda? Where's that's the agenda?
Yeah.
Later. Okay.
All right, thanks.
speak.